Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to do this meeting, and the idea is really also to have a conversation, not just a read about Italy, and also with the thought that if we set our mind on talking on Italy and finding, the healing that it needs now, this might also bring more healing and easement to people. The idea is really to have a conversation together about Italy and its history and its birth chart and its present and its future and the past as well. Not just me to interpret the chart, but we'll also talk about things together, hopefully. I prepared the chart of Italy, and for Italy, the 17th of March, 1861 is a very special moment where the different provinces were united to one country, which is a very special time because when you think of Italy, the land, it has a very rich history. Yeah, so now we're talking about Italy, the country. So you can see here the birth chart of Italy. I won't go immediately into interpreting, I'm just showing you a few things. And on top of that, in red, you can see the planets that are in the sky today. Okay? And so when I create a forecast, it's the combination of a birth chart and what happens now in the sky. And I can already tell that we're in a very extreme astrological situation. The year 2020 has very unique astrological chart and happenings, and it's really special. And we're in a time of change in history. So I'll open that a bit, but it also really sits on the chart of Italy very strongly. So it's no coincidence that all the events of the corona hit Italy in a very strong way. So we'll talk about that. And just to say, I did the chart of the beginning of the year, which is not that much different, but also just for an example, I took another special event, which is the 2nd of June, 1946, which is the Constitution. And this was also, you can also see there some unique astrological happenings. So I'm just putting that in advance so you'd know that there is a lot to say about the chart of Italy and the astrology of it. But first I want to ask you a question, okay? If you can think of either a place or a person or a piece of art, yes, that for you represents Italy, okay? And if you can go for a few minutes even to Google and find that picture.
Mm-hmm. If you, I don't know, is it possible to see the map of Italy?
Yes.
Yes. Is for me. I am Italian, but I find the land in the land many various type of land.
Mm-hmm.
Many different culture, different different color. Sardinia is different from Sicilia, and Trentino is different from Calabria. And in each of these places there is flavor, different flavor. Yes.
Amazing. Yes.
Same time the land as represent in the Mediterranean is I find a harmonic picture.
Yes.
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 And sometimes I think I saw the Italia as he, yes, letter I, the letter I, that send a signal. That be able to send the signal in the planet, the Earth, and outside.
Amazing.
Yes. And I find a very, very various land.
Amazing.
I think.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think you said some very, very important things about the variety and the different pieces of land that create Italy. And in the meantime, Mary showed us the picture of Parmigiano cheese and Pierluigi with a beautiful view, right? And Kay, the work of Leonardo da Vinci, and the beauty and the arts, right? So Italy is many, many, many things, and naturally it goes with the emotion and with the taste and with the smells and with the arts, and it's very, very unique. I think also, Mary, what Surrender said about the different places, I think it really links also to your work about the different colors of Italy. Do you want to show it just for a few minutes? So,
Okay.
so in the meantime, I would say that this game between lots of variety, yes, on one hand, so many things, a large history, lots of different areas which have very different natures to Italy on one hand, and the other hand, the unity. Okay, because it's interesting that the birth chart of Italy is the time when all the provinces became united as one country. Yes, it's very important. And if you go back to the history of Italy, of Rome, actually, yes, the Roman Empire, then the red color and the unity and everything being at one, being united, and from that unity being able to create a whole empire, you know, this is one big history that the land holds. And now it's very, very interesting that Italy has its variety. It doesn't want to be, you know, one red thing. It wants to be with many different flavors and many different tastes, and it's very, very interesting. This love too, of the history of unification and now. So yes.
Yes, this was the. It was
so wow.
This was it connecting from icons. Each place, each region was chosen to go to the heart of that region and to find the pigment that would kind of respect it most. So this is Campania, which has to do with Pompeii, and Pompeii, I connected it to the red. Then we had Emilia Romagna. This is the gold of Ravenna. So this is the Friuli Venezia Giulia, which was all in pastel colors. The houses were painted always in pastel colors. This is Lazio, which is here, Rome, and this is the Colosseum. And so on and so forth. It went on with trying to connect the color to the different places.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Amazing.
This is for PG.
Really beautiful. You're muted, yes?
Yes, yes. This is the Sea of Sardinia. And this was the blacks of Sicily, because I thought of Sicily and I thought of the intensity of this region, of this area of Italy, which is so important. So, yeah.
Amazing.
I don't know how you take the photos from the screen.
How to take it off?
Yeah.
Stop sharing. You can.
Okay, great.
It's wonderful. Okay. So let's take a look at the chart, okay, of Italy. So if we look, you can look at each one. It seems almost the same, but it's just a slightly different time. If you look at the chart of Italy, first of all, for whoever is seeing now for the first time an astrological chart, is there someone here that for the first time is looking at an astrological chart? No, good. So I'll just give a short explanation anyhow, that an astrological chart is the situation of all the celestial bodies. You can see the sun, the moon, Mars, Venus, Mercury, as they were in the sky at a certain time. And this is the location of the planets and celestial bodies in the sky at 17th of March, 1861. So this is the birth chart of Italy. Now, when you look at it, you can see something quite interesting. Even if you don't understand a lot about astrology, you can see that there is a big concentration of planets in two areas of the chart. And almost all of the rest of the skies were empty of planets at that time. Can you see that? There is very big intensity. So usually, well, every chart is completely different, and it's like statistically whatever happens with the cycles of the planets in the sky. But let's say that usually there should be an even spread of celestial bodies in the sky. Now, if I see a person with this kind of chart, it is a chart of an old soul. This is how I see the chart of an old soul. And why is that? Because every area in the chart is another territory of life that the soul, if it's a person, yes, needs to learn things about. And if there are many areas without any planets, without any challenges and lessons, it means that they've already learned many, many things in the past, and they came already after a big journey with lots of knowledge from different lifetimes before. And they could even choose, which is very, very advanced in the journey of the soul, they can even choose exactly into what they're getting born, into which challenges, which lessons, which duties, vocation. So when I look at the chart of Italy, it's not a chart of a new country, and we know that, yes, it has lots of history in it, and it can also gain from all of what happened before. And it comes to do some specific things in this world. So it's a country that is born in quite a karmic time, with a purpose, with a mission, and with a very, very specific, strong nature to it. So when I look at the chart, usually we start with the sun, because the sun is the center of the solar system, and it's also the center of the character of, in this case, the land. So when Italy was born, it was born under the sign of Pisces. And it also has Neptune in conjunction to the sun. And Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So the nature of Pisces is very, very, very strong in Italy. And Neptune and Pisces hold, first of all, the essence of the unseen world and spirituality very, very strongly. And also it holds arts. So this is why, you know, when you think about Italy, you see the beautiful sceneries, you think about the art, which is a big part of the heart of Italy. Pisces also means that things are very, very changing all the time. Yes, there is lots of changes all the time. And there is a life lesson of learning to see the bigger picture. Yes, because I think that even for Italians, as you said, how can I choose one thing? Italy is so many things, right? And so many different places. How can I choose one thing? So how can you see a greater picture of Italy when there is so much variety in it? So this is one thing in different places. I'll also talk about it. Italy needs to find its union in the diversity, and to find its mission and its new mission. Now, together with that, in conjunction to the sun, there is Mercury. And Mercury is the planet of communication. So talking, communicating is something very, very important to the Italians and to Italy, to talk about things, to create friendships. Also merchants, because Mercury is also the patron of merchants and going overseas. And healing as well. So this is a big part of it. And you also have Venus there, which adds to the arts. And so this is a whole area that really talks about the nature of people, the nature of the land, which has something very, very soft in it, with Pisces, with Neptune, with Mercury, with Venus. There is an artistic floating softness to Italy. And now we're going to this other part of the chart, which gives us a whole other nature to Italy, which is a bit different, but it's okay, because I think people and lands, you know, they hold contradictions in them, and this is part of the beauty of the country. So I think if this is the side of the sun, yes, what people see from outside, and also how people want to represent themselves, you know, and how the tourists see Italy, this would be the sun side of the moon. And not in every chart it's like that there is a bunch of planets around the sun and a bunch of planets around the moon, but so it happens with the chart of Italy. Okay, so the moon is the other side of the page, or behind the scenes, or what you don't maybe want the visitors to see, or, you know, the things that you still need. The country is here also to develop. Okay, and here in the side of the moon, we have Mars, we have Pluto, which are very, very intense planets. Okay, so this is what happens when
maybe Italians get angry, or the emotions start to get out of the box. There is also, when you talk about Mars, you need to talk about Rome, and if you have to see, that still in the center of the country, there is Rome, which now holds the Vatican in it. It's a very unique situation that in the heart of a country, there is another country, okay? And it's an interesting contradiction that sits there, okay? And when you think about, the history of Rome, which was violent and did have lots of blood in it, okay? It adds something to heal in your country. It is something that, it's a problematic thing maybe from the history, but still the land holds it. And this is something to heal. And we have here Uranus as well, which of course talks about the individuality. So each province is really unique, but also experience itself as unique. And there is a lot of originality in Italy. But also it's a bit of a problem to be original in Italy. Sometimes it doesn't go well with the government, or with conformity, or with the old patterns. So this is another big struggle for Italy, to bring in the new. How can we bring in the new? When there is a lot of history, there is a lot of conformity. How can we bring in the new? And how can we unite between the diversity and the sense of unity? How can it sit together? And and before we talked about all these planets in Pisces, which give it, the Italians, this flowing and intuitive way, but we also have Mars in Taurus, which is a very practical land and very down to earth, with the ability to build things and to do big projects, big operations. And with the moon in Gemini, I think that it's a good thing of always having, a sense of humor. And whatever happens, there is the ability to think, to take things lightly, even when bad things happen. I'll stop a bit now and see, if anyone wants to respond and ask questions about it before I say some more. Does it suit Italy till now, or
Very much. It is.
Okay.
I think the aspect that you say about the chart, that like you can see an old soul through how it's really concentrated in an area. Is that stars, because that's the area where it's really important to work on, that area there?
Yes. So this is kind of points, it's like an arrow almost, that points to what does Italy as a country need to work on. And I think that the struggle for individuality, it's a law of two things. It's a very thin line, yes, because it's very important to learn how can you bring the new and innovation and the future to a country that has so much history. You know, I've been to Rome. It's a beautiful, amazing city, but you can't build there almost, yes, right? Because it has so much history in it. So the big question is, how can we bring the future to Italy? This is one thing. Another big issue is Italy being afraid of its own power, okay? Which I didn't open yet, but I will now, okay?
Yeah.
So Jupiter, which is the planet of expansion, is in Leo, in the chart of Italy, okay? And this is quite amazing. Yes, it talks of a very big heart, of course, of Italy, and we know about the Italian and very, very passionate and loving people. But it also talks about leadership. And this is something that I think that from the past, and it has a disharmonious line to Mars. And Mars for Italy holds a very unique meaning, because Mars was the symbol or the main god for Rome, okay, and the red of Rome. And when you think about the history of Italy, you know, you can't put aside Rome, and all the relics are still there, yes, in the heart, in the capital of Italy. And when you think of it, Rome was like a supernova. Do you know what a supernova is? It's a sun that just grew too much, yes, that it exploded, and then it concentrates back to itself. And instead of giving energy as once it did, it can become a black hole. Yes. So you think about the Roman Empire, it grew very, very big, very, very, very fast. It should have given the world a lot of things. Yes, it held something very new, very strong in it, with structure, with many things. But at one point it came supernova. Yes, it exploded, collapsed, and in the heart of Italy, and of course we're talking also about the Vatican, also, that in the heart of Italy, even though it's another completely different country, the Vatican, still it's there, and it has lots of power over the world, and in the past it had more power over the world. And Italy has lots of power, but it's also maybe is still afraid of its power because of bad memories, if you see what I mean. And Italy needs to find her power again, and the way to influence the world, but in a good way, in a soft way, not in the way of Mars, and not in the way of religion, but in other ways. And one of Italy's ways, and she did it in many years in the past, is the way of arts, is the way of beauty, is the way of music, is the way of colors, is the way of nature, you know, to have this influence upon the world. So this is part of Italy's mission. Now, why is this, all of this is so also important when we're talking about the chart of today, okay? Because this is not just philosophical. It's really has to do a lot about the chart of 2020 and how it sits on the chart of Italy, okay? So I'll talk a bit about that. Please tell me if you have any questions, if you want to add something, if something is not clear.
Just a question.
Yes.
How do you relate Mars to Jupiter? What is that, the line, the red line?
Yes. So this is the red line. Can you see it?
Yes.
So it goes from Mars to Jupiter, between Mars and Jupiter. And red lines are disharmonious lines, usually.
Okay.
Okay? So it means that there is a challenge between Mars and Jupiter. And Jupiter is growth. And it's not just Jupiter, Jupiter in Leo, which is leadership. So there is this challenge. And I think that Italy also, it has its history when it tried to find its strength through war. Bad things happened in different times in history. Yes. So Italy needs to find her strength, but not to do it through Mars. Yes. And one of the ways it can find its strength, there is a line which is also red, but it's not a disharmonious line this time. It's an opposition, which is a very strong positive line between Venus, and Venus is, well, Venus is like the painting of Leonardo da Vinci that someone put at the beginning. It's a very feminine, soft, creative, artistic power, and Saturn is the form and the government. So, for example, Italy is a very good example how arts, how institutions welcome arts, and arts can be known and familiar. It's all around the world, even coming from Italy. So there is something through there that can be done. Okay, now what you see red colored here, you see Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, all these planets. These are the planets that are now in the sky. Okay, so this is a whole other chart, which is the chart of today, and how it sits on the chart of Italy. Now, 2020 is the most unique year that we ever saw astrologically, during our lifetime. And also we see the huge effect of it. And it's a time of changing history, really. Okay? And the reason, there are a few reasons for that. One is that 2020 started in between two eclipses. There was a solar eclipse at the end of 2019 and a lunar eclipse at the beginning of 2020. So it just started in between two eclipses. It's a whole decade that started between two eclipses. Usually I recommend not doing things between two eclipses because it never comes out well. But here a whole decade started between two eclipses, okay? So it's a very difficult decade. So this is one thing. Another thing is that it started, and still is, with an alignment of three planets, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. As I said before, it's very rare that planets are close to one another. Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, think about the planets, they all do their circles around the sun. This is the sun, this is the earth, but they all do their circles around the chart in different paces. So for Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn to meet together is very, very unique. So Pluto and Saturn only meet together every 36 years or so, which is very, very rare. And the odds for Jupiter also to join this is even rarer, more rare. Every time Pluto and Saturn conjunct in the recent history, we see a change in history. So the times it happened was 1914, the beginning of World War I. 1948, which is here in Israel. It's you know, the Israel state started then, but there are other things that happened worldwide. For example, it was the year that welfare started in the world. It was never like that before. 1983 was another year that these two planets were in conjunction, and this is the birth year of the internet, the cellular phone, and Microsoft company. Okay, so think that every time these two were together, the history changed. You can't imagine the world or the countries, you know, a person before World War I can't imagine how the world would look after it. Or before the internet and cellular phones, yes, we can't imagine even meeting like that on Zoom, right? So it's times that really like changed the whole history. Now, when we look at, and what does it mean? What is this time? So Pluto is the planet of complete transformation. So it's a time of change, shift in history. Saturn is the planet of conformity, governments, structures. So we're talking about complete change in everything that we think that is, you know, the structure. It's a huge shift in history. And this time Jupiter adds to them, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion and growth and making things global. So it's even wider than what happened in previous times. So we're in a very special, unique time of change in history. Now, if you see all these three planets sit exactly on the true node of Italy. And so you see this little sign?
Mhm.
This is the true node, and the true node is the karmic point of the chart. If it's a person, I would say that each person has his previous lifetimes and what they bring with them from previous lifetimes and what they need to overcome during this lifetime, the breakthroughs that they need to do during this lifetime. And the true node of Italy is in the sign of Capricorn, which also has to do with Saturn itself, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. And having the true node in Capricorn means that the karmic issue or challenge or what Italy needs to do, you know, is this specific Italy on this specific land with its history, yes, has to do with a Capricorn, which means finding its honor in a dignified way, first of all, being committed, being responsible. It has to do with building new structures, building new things, building new establishments, but also respecting the old. There is a very thin line here. Capricorn also holds the gold. How can you hold the best of the past? Yes, but also build new establishments, new structures. It also has to do with what I said before about holding this thin line between the diversity and the different areas and still holding the unification, the being together, the all Italian. It also holds what I talked before about not being afraid of your power, of the leadership power. Because Italy has something very, very, very soft in it, which is a beautiful part of it, but it doesn't need to be afraid also from its very, very strong, a more masculine part. Yes, although there is a change needed to be done, because in history, it also brought bad things to Italy. So when 2020 came in with the shift of history that came in the form of the corona, which is just, it's just the outside form of something, yes, that has in the lower side of something, because actually it is a time of change, of huge change in establishments. For Italy, it is ultra unique. Yes, it's really sits on what it needs to do and on its challenges. Now, on one hand, it means that Italy had a huge challenge in this time of change. The whole world is affected by the corona, but Italy had a very strong hit with the corona. I think maybe the biggest in the world, maybe, right? If I'm not mistaken, statistically. So, but with this hit and with this change, there is also a huge potential, a very, very, very strong potential for change, for refinding the honor and the structure that Italy needs to bring. In that there is this interesting thing that this situation brought the need for more structure, more laws, more establishment. Yes, the people needed to be more under laws during this time, being in quarantine. But in an interesting way, it can heal something. It can heal something of not being afraid from structure, from laws, from challenges, from problems. Yes, realizing how much strength the country and the people have through these challenges, and of course overcoming them. Together with that, apart from these three planets, which are the most significant planets, it's like Italy needs to find her place, her honorable, proud, strong place in the world again. Now, together with these three planets, you can see that other things are happening. For example, Neptune in the sky is very close to where it is in the birth chart of Italy. Now, this is absolutely rare because this happens every 144 years, that Neptune returns to the same place, because Neptune is a very, very slow planet. So if I'm calculating it, it means that this is the first time, right? It's Italy, yes, it was born almost 140 years ago in this form. And Neptune is a very strong feature for Italy because the sun is in Pisces and Neptune is in conjunction to the sun. So there is something very strong to do with the power of Neptune, which is the power of arts, which is the power of a belief and nature. Very, very, very strong, like a Renaissance in a way, or something that really wants to reignite. So is there a new kind of art that wants to come through Italy, or a new celebration of nature, maybe maybe both. There is something there that happens, which is very, very strong in the chart of Italy. Neptune is also it's the god of the seas, Neptune. So maybe it has to do with the seas, maybe it has to do with the island. For sure, it has to do with inspiration, with arts. So there is something that wants to happen. The full conjunction will take 10 years or so. So it's a process. It's not like immediate, but it does take place. Now, when 2020 entered, now it moved a bit. Chiron, which is the planet of healing, was also on Neptune's, on Italy's Sun and Neptune. And Chiron is the planet of the wounded healer. Okay, so Italy suffered a huge wound, but we know from history, yes, when you see a forest burn, you think, oh, this is horrible, you know, and then you see that the land actually cured itself miraculously much faster than you think, and now there's more variety and more animals and more life, and something renewed itself in an amazing way. So yes, so Italy suffered a very strong wound, but it also means that it will now be able to heal in a very interesting way. Because Chiron is the planet of the wounded healer, and exactly at the beginning of 2020, you know, it's really amazing and rare. Also happens like every 30 years or so, that it's in conjunction to the Sun and to Neptune in the chart. So the healing is a very strong part. And the last most amazing thing is that Uranus, which is the planet of individuality. Now, Uranus is the planet of individuality. And when you look at the 2nd of June, 1946, okay, which is the Constitution, Uranus in the sky, together with the true node in the sky, were exactly at the place of Uranus in Italy's birth chart. Now, this also is very unique. It happens once every 88 years. Okay, so you can see how, and it talked about the independence, and Uranus spells independence and originality. It's not independent. I know it's the Constitution, but it's another birth date for Italy in a way. So you can see how in the past Uranus had a very strong effect in Italy's history. And now Uranus is in conjunction to Pluto. And Pluto is the planet of transformation. So for sure, Italy needs a shake and a huge transformation, okay? And Pluto and Uranus can be very harsh planets. Yes, they can cause, of course, you know, you saw the sickness. It can, in other cases, earthquakes, all sorts of things. They're very strong planets, but they're also the planet of a restart. It's just like imagining, you know, when someone is almost dying and you have the defibrillator, you know, that does the electricity to the heart. Okay, so it's a restart to the system. So looking at all of this, yes, then for sure there is, Italy had a huge hit from 2020 and from the corona, but it seems that it needed this shake in order to change things and to have space for the future, because the space might not be in between buildings, but it needs to be, with not being full of the routine and the past. Yes, so something in Italy needed a big, strong shake and trauma, even a wound, but just in order to now wake up to its next level. And a lot of, and Italy has things to bring out to the world. It's also very important. A lot of the economy of Italy has to do with tourism. How will people come in? But there is something for Italy to give out to the world in the manner of arts and yes, mainly all sorts of arts and original ideas. So this is something that can start to happen now. So it's, yes. Okay. I'm stopping for a while.
Amazing.
So it's interesting, the fast and slow. It's very interesting. Once people thought that the changes in the continents, for example, or changes in climate, it happened very, very slowly during history. But recently they found out that things actually move very fast. Change in geography, even like the continents moving, or the whatever, and or climate change. Things can happen really fast. So I'm saying, actually, yes, something in the logic says Italy had a big hit, it will take a long time to recover. Not necessarily. I'm really saying not necessarily so. And nature showed over and over again that the recovery happens much faster than people think. And also, I did something. This, what's that? Just a minute. Okay, don't know if you see this. This gibberish. Yes, can you see that? This is all the astrological dates. I didn't. There are, of course, a lot to say about the dates, but first of all, I'm interested in when the hit was, the starting point, of the corona, because there is something very interesting happening there between the 27th of February and the 9th of March, in which I think that if you will check, this was when things outbursts
In
with
Italy.
okay?
Yes, exactly.
So this is amazing, and you see it's 1 week only, but it's like a huge, or 2 weeks, which were a huge change. And Jupiter was in conjunction. So when, just to go back to during that time, because we saw the general chart of Italy, but you see that Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, I said they were all on the true node. Okay, but this is the date when Jupiter expands things. Yes, suddenly Jupiter was exactly on the true node of Italy, the karmic point of Italy. So you can see how amazing, and how really things that happened are in sync with what happens in the sky. Now, there are 2 times to look forward to, I think, in the near future. which can actually create a much faster elevation than you think, okay? Instead of the very slow recovery, because Uranus in conjunction to Pluto really talks about huge transformations, okay? Big changes. Now, it's also time to take care of, like it can be also something problematic, but it also can be like a huge change that happens quite quickly. And the exact, no, sorry. And the exact dates for that, so when Uranus is in conjunction to Pluto, already happened between May 5th and 11th of June. It will be good to see what happened then in there specifically, okay? Was it good? Was it bad? What exactly happened recently, really, then? And then there is another wave like that during October 2nd and 17th of December. There are, of course, many dates, yes, and lots of things going on. But I have the feeling that these dates are holding a potential of a resurrection in a way, which is much faster than the logical explanation. Okay, so it would be very interesting, yes, to first to do the research, see just recently what happened here, and then to wait and see what will happen over here, the 22nd of October, the 17th of December. And there is another date, which is also very soon, which Jupiter is in another conjunction with the true node, but it might be actually a positive thing now as well, because this is the first corona outburst, okay? The 27th of February, Jupiter was in conjunction to the true node. It will happen again, but I don't think it means the second wave. I think it has to do with the correction of it. So these would be some interesting dates, you know, to research and see what happens in them.
If I recall well, at the end of May, at the beginning of June, there was the first opening of the restrictions.
Amazing.
On the 4th of June,
yes.
It started to move at the end of May, and then on the 4th of June, everything started to open.
Yes. So, you know, maybe this can mark the time where Italy reopens to the world in the 22nd of October. But I think that it means that something needs, of course, yes, something needs to change. And yes, so all of the happenings will allow a real change to happen. Not the idea is not to go back to normal. You don't want to go back, and normal is not normal. So you really want, you know, to see what are the new opportunities. We are looking at history and a changing time in history. So I think that you will see things happen, you know, in the government, in people, in organizations, in people needing to reinvent themselves. Yes, because the economics change, because, you know, so you can't sit, you need to change something, right? If the world doesn't come to you, what can I bring to the world these days? Yes, because people can't wait till tourism will be as it was, So in the meantime, new things can be created and new innovations. And we're talking about that, and we're bringing more awareness to it. But I think these are things that are going to happen, in the world, in Italy specifically. So yeah, so we're towards the end, but if anyone wants to say something, to add, to ask, yes, Mary.
Yeah, Mary. Yeah, just one question is how can the EMA in Italy be of sustainment to what's going on here now?
Yeah.
So Kay asked, can a small group of people, right? We are 9 people here now. Maybe other people will see the recording later on. Can a small group of people change things? Yes. If they're powerful enough, and if they, have the intention and awareness of what is happening, this is part of what we're doing. We're helping things with bringing them to our awareness and doing an Acropolis process with it. I'll tell you an amazing story. Okay, are you ready for an amazing story? So once I came back from a workshop in Wyniford in Wales, and I was with all the stars and the moon and the sun, and I was looking outside the window thinking, oh my God, every child needs to learn more about the sun and the moon. And I was looking at how you can actually always, you see from outside of the window from the airplane, that there is also always this line of dusk or dawn, and you are traveling to it, or the world is turning, and it was so amazing. And you can see the moon on one side and the sun on another side, and it was so amazing. And I was thinking, all the children need to learn about that. Now, all through the flight, I'm not listening to conversations around me. I was in my own movie anyhow after, seminar. And suddenly I'm hearing 2 ladies behind me talk in Hebrew, and they didn't know one another before. And one says, look outside, isn't it amazing? You can see the sunset, and you can see the moon, and you can see the sun. And she's like saying what I'm saying. And she says, all children, the other woman next to her asked something, and she said like, oh, how can you see the moon and the sun together? Doesn't the sun, isn't the sun outside in the day and the moon outside in the night? Which, it's something which lacks education about the cycles of the sun and the moon. And the other lady said, no, it's not like that. There are the cycles of the sun and the moon. And she's explaining everything and how it is possible to see the sun and the moon together from time to time in the sky. And then this lady says, wow, this is amazing. All the children should learn this thing. This is something, she realized that she was not educated about it. She said, all the children should learn about this thing. And then the lady who explained said, yes, you're right, they should. And then the lady who didn't know asked, so where are you from? What are you doing? And it turns out that the lady near the window who explained was responsible for the whole education system in the north of Israel. Okay? And it landed on her that there needs to be a program to educate the children about the cycles of the sun and the moon. That this was 2 years ago, and already 1 year ago I talked to some lady who is a teacher, and she said that this program now runs. Okay? Now imagine I would go out of of a workshop thinking, oh, all the children in Israel should be educated about the cycles of the sun and the moon. I could spend my whole life trying to go to the right people, prepare the program, hearing no, trying to convince, right? And here it just landed on the right person who could immediately do it because she was the one. Now, this is a true story. This is absolutely amazing. And there are other amazing stories. You know, that a small group of children decided they wanted to clean Israel. And they started this program. And they went to the radio and they went to the Knesset, which is the government, and talked about it. And at the end of a year, there are funds of millions of shekels now to educate children to clean the land. Now, what are the odds for that to happen? It's not on any scale or any plan. Yes, this can't go by any plan. So this is what we are trying to do, right? We're trying to put things out there in the astrolight. So the right person who is now thinking, you know, from the young person going into the government with no experience, will now think, how can I, you know, help Italy, or what kind of change needs to happen? And you know, things can really happen quickly. It can be like that. It happens like that. Yeah. So this is so our part probably is just to think about things and talk about things. Of course, say yes to what we believe can happen, and say no to what we don't think is fair and up to standards. Encourage people, do our own amazing work. Mari, you're doing so much amazing work, you know, things that can come out from Italy through arts, you know, and other people are doing amazing things. So, yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That was very special.
Mm.
Very special. Yeah. And I think, you know, while you were speaking before, I was thinking the responsibility it has. One of the white top children said to me once, we were speaking about Italy, they had been here, and they were speaking how special Italy was for them. And I said, but why do you think it's so special? And the answer was quite incredible. He says, well, I think that the Italians in Italy has a very high sense of quality. Everything it does is at the utmost quality. I think we have, as you said before, the thing that we have to kind of output, not input, is this. It's the standards also in the quality we have, which is very important. The standards in beauty and in aesthetics, because aesthetics seem to be always a superficial thing, but they are not. They are wonderfully important. So yeah, I understand what you.
I'm putting the chart because a position, which is a very strong line between Venus, which is the aesthetics and beauty, and Saturn, which is the standards. Yes, it's in Italy's chart, and it's very, very important. You know, you can see it today when you want things to go out into the world. They need to have the high standards, the visual effect. They need to have the right kind of a cloth or coat to go out to the world. So maybe this
and
is
also, sorry.
Yeah, no, continue. Mm-hmm.
No, also I think that, you know, physics teach us that either we grow or we deteriorate. I think that the aesthetics is a stance against deterioration of our standards in a way, at a certain level.
interesting that the whole corona situation really quietened a lot of noise down, and like the beauty of the planet can be more alive here. Really special. The essences of the land can really be felt more. So I think we're towards the end for now. How can we sum this meeting? That I think of all countries, it's no coincidence that Italy got the shock and shake. I love the what Kay said about the shock and shake of 2020 and the corona, you know, in a very, very, very strong way. But it does look very, very promising. That people needed to get out of the magnetic grip in order to be willing to face the unknown. Like the unknown is always there, but you don't look at it if you're looking at the back, at the past. So I think it kind of turned everybody around from holding to the past to looking to the future. And I think that you will see that in the near history of Italy. You know, I think that countries that didn't go through a very strong shock will go back to their habitual living quite quickly. But countries that did experience a big shock will be able to find the new more quicker and more easy. Yeah. Okay.
Can I just leave just one phrase came to my mind while you were speaking, and it was the phrase that came to my mind was, if we only knew how powerful we are. And I think it's also individual, state-wise, yeah, but powerful in a sense of expanding, how much we can really expand. Yeah.
This is absolutely true. This is exactly from the chart as well, with the Jupiter in Leo, which needs to expand and grow, and realizing how powerful you are and not being afraid of it.
And it's strange that the corona was the breathing, and that's the expansion is the opening up of the lungs, no? And it hit the breathing system. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so
thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night to you too. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like stars, very hopeful.